Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and I'm just going to cut right to the point because I learned of something that, while it wasn't shocking because we all knew that it was eventually going to come, it was frustrating to say the least because us on YouTube, the independent medias out there, we all work together in the sense that we all promote each other, we all help each other out because we all have a common goal to spread information whether we agree with each other on everything or not. And we have come to a point in time where YouTube basically says if you don't agree with us, we're going to take you down. And we saw that today. Thousands and thousands of accounts are being taken down from YouTube, deleted completely off the internet, wiped people's entire basically archive, just completely destroyed, erased from history. Like modern day book burning, and it's all out of this virtue signaling of stopping, people who might offend someone. And on top of that, we are seeing vast demonetization. And a friend of mine, Dan Dix of Press for Truth, witnessed this himself today. This is a guy who's been working hard for 13, 14 years or something on YouTube and has been putting his heart and soul into his work at Press for Truth. And of course, you can see his Twitter page here. As it shows, not only has he been demonetized basically entirely, they took away his ability to monetize completely. They're also unpublishing pages like they have in the past with his Facebook page. This is from October 2018. We talked about it back then. And they are just deleting his YouTube videos from the past off of YouTube, including attacking the horrible nature of pedophilia. It was literally a video attacking pedophiles, and they took it down as inappropriate for some reason or another. I mean, this is so disgusting. You're allowed to promote pedophilia on YouTube, as you see all the time, and you see people like David Duke promoting crazy stuff, and you see a lot of terrible people promoting very terrible things, including violence, and you speak out against pedophilia and you get your video taken down and wiped from the internet, and then 100% demonetized. And Dan Dix of Press for Truth isn't the only one. My friend Ford Fisher has also faced this. This is a guy who just documents stuff on the street, videotapes stuff, live action on the street. One of the most non-biased people I've ever met when it comes to, reporting the news. He just goes to events and videotapes what he sees. And some of that ends up getting licensed by bigger names, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he just gets completely demonetized for some kind of hate speech or something. Like, he's literally just videotaping what's happening in front of him. Should we, erase the people who took those horrible photos of what the police did to protesters in the 1960s in Ohio? I mean, I just don't understand how people are okay with this. Steven Crowder, of course, got hit as well. I mean, this is, where do you draw the line at this point? They start at people like, Christopher Cantwell, and everyone's like, oh yeah, well, screw that guy. That guy's terrible. Let's get rid of him. And I knew at the time, it's like, well, and then they took down his website. They took down, GoDaddy banned him, all these things, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all at the same time, at the exact same time, all working together. And then it's like, okay, what comes next? Alex Jones. And, Anti-Media and the Free Thought Project, and now moving their way down to even less, like, I wouldn't consider any of these people really extreme as far as, like, Anti-Media goes, and, like, Carrie Wedler and Free Thought Project or anything like that. But suffice to say, like, Press for Truth isn't really pulling any feathers that are particularly extreme. He's just talking about the truth as he sees it and bringing it forward to the people. He doesn't swear. He doesn't promote violence of any kind. He promotes people working together and, being decent human beings and considering the horrible things that happen around the world and making sense of them. But, of course, they demonetized him entirely today, and he's unable to make any money anymore. And this is what I'm getting to, guys. Like, I could throw up a few things on the screen here for you. I mean, as far as stories go, I'm going to get to the point in a moment. But you have YouTube deletes thousands of accounts after it bans supremacists, conspiracy theorists, and other harmful users. And what do they consider harmful? They just decide this is harmful for whatever reason, what they call lateral violence or something like that. I hear a lot of that in Canada these days. And it's so incredibly absurd. There's nowhere to draw a line. Oh, I'm offended by something. I don't agree with something. Therefore, it needs to be destroyed, and the people with it need to be destroyed as well. BuzzFeed News, YouTube has begun blocking discriminatory content just a day after saying it doesn't violate its policies. And this is also a lot to do with a Vox contributor, Carlos Maza, who decided because he couldn't take down PewDiePie, maybe they should just take down everybody. That's essentially what they're getting at. Anyone that disagrees with this one particular viewpoint that isn't shared by that many people, actually. You talk to most people on the street, they do not agree with this stuff. But you disagree with this person in one way or another, and they just erase you from the internet, erase you from history. Like, this is like over-the-top Orwellian, Stalinist kind of stuff. Throw Julian Assange in jail. Throw Chelsea Manning in jail. People who report the news, not the people who blew up the children. They need to throw the people who reported on people blowing up children in jail. It's like, or Eric Garner getting killed by police, and then the guy who videotapes it is the guy who gets in trouble. Yet a man is dead, and his family doesn't have a father anymore. I mean, it's just the lengths that they'll go to manipulate us and scare us into submission is sick. And look, we are at a point where it's now or never. We don't have a choice anymore. If you want independent media to survive, it comes down to you. We will not have a problem with monetization or any of that stuff. We have to do this day after day after day after day. All day, every day we work on this. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into this. Right now I'm on the road in Hartford, Connecticut, working on getting stories for you guys. And it's just, it's really frustrating because I understand a lot of you cannot help independent media. It's not financially plausible. But there are a lot of you that can give $1 a day, or a month, $1 an entire month. This is what is going to save independent media. It's not monetization. Monetization, whatever. In the end, that we all knew that was going to go away. But when it comes down to it, it's the viewers that help. The viewers that keep us alive. The people who say, look at this demonetization. It's so terrible. Maybe we should do something about it. $1 a month to these independent medias, whether it's Press for Truth, whether it's We Are Change, whether it's Ford Fisher at News to Share, whether it's a Free Thought Project, the anti-media, which has completely been destroyed and purged from the internet, and now Carrie Wedler is working with fee.org. These people that are putting all their work into building these platforms and bringing people information for free on YouTube, just $1 every now and then, folks. I mean, there's 127,000 people on this channel. There's 250,000 almost on Press for Truth. And I don't want to be that guy. But look, when it comes down to it, I'm watching it. It's like we have 0.001% of people that say this is terrible helping. And it's just, it hurts my morale a little bit because we do this day in, day out, and we work really hard. And then people talk, and then very few people, I should say, because there are some people that have helped me in ways that I'll never forget, and I truly am forever grateful. But the vast, vast majority can't give $1 an entire month to save the future of information. This is a future of information. I mean, a couple years from now, will we notice that everything is one narrative or two controlled narratives, Fox News and CNN, or CBC in Canada and Global News, or we could say the same thing with BBC in Britain and France 24 and ABC in Australia. We are going to see the information war collapse under the guise of people. People are afraid to say anything. People are afraid to do anything to help these independent medias. We are at the end of the line. Look, people keep saying, why don't you compete against YouTube? Why don't you create a new alternative? First of all, I can't code at all, which, by the way, that's hate speech apparently on Twitter, saying that it learned to code or something like that. Remember, everyone was getting taken down over that. Just craziness. But on top of that, it's a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. I see some people talking about mines, and I love mines. But one of the major things that this has always been about to me was reaching people outside of my echo chamber, not preaching to the choir, bringing information to people that aren't aware of that information. And being in these echo chambers where you get at the most 200 views on a video on Minds or DTube or DLive or one of these things that are great platforms, the fact is barely anyone's there. And especially people that oppose my viewpoints are not there. And we need to reach out to people. So if we just are in our little echo chamber and everyone else is in their little echo chamber on YouTube, and everyone's afraid to say anything or else their careers will be destroyed by some teenager at the headquarters pressing a button, I mean, where are we at as far as the information war? Where are we going? What are we doing about it? And it's just, I don't know. I am getting really frustrated. We reached out to people for people's emails a while back ago, and we got like 500, but 500 of over 100,000 people sent emails. If you want to join our newsletter so we can't lose track of you, because if they delete our channel, we will not be able to reach you, I urge everyone to send subject line yes, Y-E-S, yes, to worldalternativemedia@gmail.com. And also join us on Subscribestar, where we are doing subscriber-only content, and do the same thing for Dan Dix of Press for Truth. I don't care who you... Just help independent media. We need it now more than ever. Help Ford Fisher, who's one of the most genuine people I know, along with Dan, incredibly honest human beings that care about all of this. And then their lives are getting ripped apart by some teenager in a, in Silicon Valley who presses a button and says, nope, you're not allowed to talk anymore. And if you do talk, you're certainly not allowed to make any money. And on top of demonetization, there's a shadow banning. We have been losing subscribers every day for the last week. I posted a video confronting Bernie Sanders, and I've reached barely anyone. It got like 7,000 views in the first couple hours, and now, like a week later, it's at 7,600 views. It's gone up like 20 views today. It was shared by mainstream media and everything, but barely moved. I confronted Bernie Sanders, and it doesn't go anywhere. A channel with 10 subscribers would be able to make that video be seen. Anyway, it's just, and we're seeing the views plummet, and we are getting over 1,000 messages a week from people saying they're randomly being unsubscribed. Just like that, just unsubscribed. Without their permission, just unsubscribed from the channel. They keep having to resubscribe. It's so sick. First, I do want to say thank you so much to Tone Locke, who sent $10. Fahrenheit all over again. He says, $10 in the super chat. Thank you so much. Really, see, these are the things that keep independent media alive. MK sent Canadian $2, said, keep up the good fight. I will never give up, but I'll tell you, I think about giving up every single day because I feel like 99% of people don't care. And I think a lot of independent media feel this way and don't want to say it because they don't want to come off like they're just complaining all the time. But look, we are trying to create win this information war here. We are up against the behemoth of the state, these massive media conglomerates, these propaganda machines that just have a monopoly on information and tons of money going into them. And then people break away and they say, no, let's take over these platforms so they can't actually reach anybody anymore. We are at the end of the line. It's now or never. Either we do something right now to save these independent medias, or we forever hold our peace and we cannot complain when our children are being spoon-fed further destructive lies, pushing us into the next war. Independent media has saved us from the last few potential wars. Keep that in mind. If the Iraq War begun in the age of true social media information sharing, it would not have happened. Look at what's happened in Syria. Everyone's like, nope, false flag. No chemical attack. Come on, that's ridiculous. But I can't say that right now because it's conspiracy minded. I could get my whole channel just deleted off the internet. Think about all the things that have come up in the last few years where people just knew better and it just didn't go through. Gun laws, though they're still pushing it with the red flag laws. Potential pushes towards war. What's happening with Iran right now and people pushing away. The European Union, Brexit, which never went through, shows you how much, actual so-called democracy works. And we just got to this point where what are we going to do about it? If we're not going to do anything right now, then we may as well sit complacent. What was the point of knowing any of this information if we're not willing to fight?
when it comes time to fight. We have very little time left. They're deleting channels left and right. We should have done something when it happened to Alex Jones. We should have been doing something when Milo was deplatformed. We should have done something when, even as far back as, yes, Christopher Cantwell, the so-called crying Nazi. We should have done something then. Because we should know damn well where this is going. You know what I noticed? People do care. I have more people watching this live stream than I usually do. I used to get this many viewers on a live stream when I had 10,000 subscribers. Now that I have 127,000 subscribers, it's a miracle to see even 170 people watching right now, because usually I'll get 40, maybe 50, because that is how demonetized or shadow banned we are. We're getting incredibly demonetized. And now to get to that next point where it's not just demonetizing random things and having to press for review, it's that they're just demonetizing everything. I got off the phone with Dan Dix about a half an hour ago, and he was telling me it's not a yellow money sign. It's not there's just no money sign. They got rid of the monetization settings completely for his channel. So reach out to @TeamYouTube on Twitter. Tell them what you think about what they did to Press for Truth. Tell them what you think they did. What do you think about what they did to people like Steven Crowder and Ford Fisher? Doesn't matter if you agree with them. I would stand up for the Young Turks if this happened to them. I would stand up for anyone when it comes to them spreading information. It's not threatening people with force. It's spreading information. People do with that what they please, and you must combat it. The only way you can have a discussion and actually come to facts and come to terms with facts is to argue it out and talk with people and communicate. If they cut us off, they alienate people, they create martyrs, they divide people, they create a domino effect, and it's an avalanche, folks. And we either stand up now, or we're stuck in the paradigm of the mainstream media for a very long time into the future. Because guess what? Once all these guys are gone off YouTube, well, we are back where we started, and all these years have been a waste. And they will likely succeed for a few years down the line anyway. I'm optimistic, but let's be real. I really Nick Ammon, thank you so much for the Australian $50. I really appreciate that. That means so much to me. Seriously, 50, that's above and beyond. Thank you. Again, you guys are the change. We wish to see another big thank you to Lauren Canis, $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that as well. And Annette sent $5. Again, these are the moves that change things for us, because as far as it goes with monetization, that's going to go downhill. With the shadow banning, we won't be able to reach people. But with people like you that stick around and do whatever you can to ensure the future of information, it's not about me, it's not about Dan, it's not about Ford, it's not about Steven, it's not about Alex Jones, any of these people. It's about the future information that your children, your grandchildren, people of the future will receive. People in the future that they're going to make decisions for you as well, unfortunately. You know how I feel about that. But nonetheless, do you want it to be completely watered down information, faulty information? Do you want to live in a Stalinist country? Because we're living in a new modern Stalinist country. We're seeing what's happening in place like China, where Facebook has been heavily involved in pushing their centrally planned cashless society and their facial recognition and social credit. It's crazy. MK, thank you for the Canadian $2. I really appreciate it. Again, this is what I've been saying for this video. If every single person that watches this channel sent $1 a month, that would be $127,000 a month. We would be able to take over independent media or mainstream media. But I realize that that's not realistic. 10% though, 10% is $12,700. 10% of people, $1 a month. Think of the impact that would have. We would not have to worry about advertising. We would not have to worry about any of this anymore. Any of it. It would all be just fodder. It wouldn't matter at all. Same thing goes for Press for Truth. Press for Truth has almost 250,000 subscribers, and it hurts me to see the vast majority of people not want to help. $1. There's so many ways to do it. There's GoFundMe, Patreon. There's Subscribestar. Float, Flote, is going to be launching in the next few days, I believe. And that's going to be huge. A good friend of mine, Kingsley Edwards and Aaron Nakamoto, are working on that as we speak. And they are furious about what's happening to us independent medias. And we have Isagoria coming and all that kind of stuff. But there's also Bitcoin, ways to tip in Bitcoin, Dash, digital, all these currencies. I mean, people say, well, why don't you guys all form an alliance? And I'm all for all the independent medias coming together under one roof. But it also worries me that it will just give the establishment an easier ability to shut down everyone at the same time. I'm concerned. I'm scared, yes, because this is something I've worked on for 6.5 years. Half of that time I did it for free because I believe in doing this. I'm passionate about doing this, and I will continue to do it, even if it's for free. However, I would prefer not to be homeless, and that's what's going to happen if I completely do this for free. I cannot sustain myself. People don't realize often that it's like 18 hours a day, every day, working all day, every day to bring, content to people. Usually every single day. The last few days has been kind of sporadic because I've been driving from Las Vegas to Connecticut for the Red Pill Expo. Long drive, obviously, 4th day in. Just got here, and then this happens. But nonetheless, again, we are watching the end of sites like YouTube as we know it. They're shooting themselves in the foot. But with that said, they're still the best way to reach people outside of an echo chamber. They are the best way to be able to bring people new information that they won't find anywhere else. I mean, look at this. Look at this message from Twitter to Dan Dix on his Twitter here. He says, Team YouTube replied to, let's see. They replied originally. I want to go to the top of this thread here. Carlos Maza. So the F what? Basically, all political content gets demonetized. Crowder's revenue stream isn't from YouTube ads. It's from selling merch, and socialism is for, you know what? Shirts to millions of loyal customers that YouTube continue to drive to his channel for free. And then Team YouTube said, to clarify, in order to reinstate monetization on this channel, he will need to remove the links to his t-shirts. So they're basically already demonetizing him, and now if he tries to sell t-shirts, they will make sure that he doesn't get any monetization at all. It just doesn't make any sense. It's gotten to this point where it's just so absurd. And this Carlos Maza guy, I mean, people can, figure that one out for themselves. I mean, I'm not going to sway anyone in any other direction because I'm concerned about where they'll go for me if I mention certain things. I mean, I realize I'm coming to the end of the line too. They're going to be demonetizing me real soon. They're going to probably shut down all of our channels. I can't even see us lasting another 2 years. Think of the 2020 elections, considering what the 2016 elections were like. But with that said, I am still concerned about saying certain things. But this Carlos Maza guy is just like causing havoc and ruining people's lives. They're ruining people's lives because they're offended. Stop watching it. This isn't lateral violence. You are on a slippery slope to complete tyranny and destruction of free will. We've already fallen way too far down that slope, and we are basically at the bottom at this point. And that bottom is full of lava. You ever play that game, Don't Step on the Lava, when you're a kid? Well, I feel like that every day when I post on YouTube now. And it's terrifying. And if we're terrified about spreading information that's completely innocent, just alternative takes and views on things, then tyranny is already here. We've already entered into a far worse than an Orwellian society. As I said on Press for Truth about a week and a half ago when Dan was interviewing me on the program about AnarchoVegas, I said at that time, they're going to go back in your videos a year or so down the line. I overjudged it a bit. And just start deleting videos because they've changed a rule in the meantime, and now that's no longer acceptable, and therefore 1, 2, 3 strikes are out, channel down, all your archives deleted. I mean, over thousands of videos just gone. Documentation gone. Think of how many videos Alex Jones had up. You don't have to agree with him, but think of how many videos Alex Jones had up on YouTube. thousands and thousands and thousands of them, and it documented years of his work, and they're just like, nope, gone, deleted. We don't want to hear you anymore, and other people shouldn't either. They think you're so stupid that you can't make up your own mind on what you hear and what you don't hear. You don't like something, don't watch it. We already see that with the echo chambers. We already see that with confirmation bias. Why? It's obviously not going to be any different with, YouTube or Facebook. Like Facebook saying we cannot promote ICOs anymore. Now they have their own Facebook coin, but we can't promote crypto ICOs anymore because people might buy them. Yeah, and there's a lot of really bad ones out there. Well, that's personal responsibility. The basis of freedom itself, and that gets right to the point. They don't want us to be free. They don't want us to have any freedom. They want to ensure that we're completely muzzled, we're scared, we're stupid, we're weak, and we're dependent. It's all coming down to freedom itself. And what you guys do makes all the difference. This isn't about what I do. I can do whatever I can do. But you are the people that are in big numbers. You are the people with the power. You're the people with your fingers on that keyboard and on that mouse. You are the people that matter most. And you are the people that can end this massive infringement of speech, complete censorship. Speech gulags, as some might call it. Non-violently, of course. I always have to say that because then they're going to say, well, one guy did something after he listened to your video. Non-violently, we need to take back our ability to spread information. We shouldn't be the ones that are scared. They should be scared. These people in Silicon Valley, which, by the way, people will say it's a private company. Well, look at how much money they've gotten from the government. How private can it really be after a while once they've taken all this money from the government? I'm not saying it should be a public utility. I'm not saying that it should be regulated or controlled by government because government is the most dishonest of all. I'm saying that we as individuals need to make our voices louder and show them at the bank that this isn't profitable. You cannot win this battle. Though there is that part of it, that factor where it's like sometimes you get so much money, it's no longer about money, it's about more power because the money doesn't give you that feeling of power anymore, so you move on to the next thing. A lot of people say that about Clinton, a lot of people say that about Trump, whatever you might think. It could be true, but I think in the end, the individual demand of the masses means more than anything. So again, if every single person sent $1 a month, one single dollar, this whole problem would be gone. We would have more power than them by far. $1, 127,000 subscribers. $1 in Dan Dix's case from Press for Truth. $250,000 a month. That's all it takes. I mean, all these mainstream medias are going bankrupt. They're losing vast amounts of viewers. They've been caught conning people for ages. And they're desperate. And so we should do whatever we can to ensure our long-term ability to promote free thought. Big thank you to James Farr, who sent $5. Hashtag Grand Solar Minimum. Hit me up on my website, james@truthnewsconnections.news. Thank you very much, James. I really appreciate that. These super chats have been my only real way of monetization myself lately, because even if they do monetize me still for the time being, they don't allow people to see my content for the most part and keep unsubscribing people so that I just don't make any money off of it. So anyway, my point is I'm going to get going. I am in Hartford, Connecticut for the Red Pill Expo 2019. G. Edward Griffin's here, Benny Wills, Robert Kiyosaki, Cynthia McKinney, Jeff Berwick. Dan Dix will be here from Press for Truth tomorrow, and I will be interviewing him about this as well. We need to do something now. I'm sick of walking on eggshells. I'm sick of watching my friends get their careers ripped to shreds. And I'm sick of waking up every morning wondering how long it's going to take until they take mine down. And they're already taking it down. It's become unbearable to deal with on a daily basis as they unsubscribe people, as they delete content without even telling me. They've deleted a few of my videos without even notifying me and expecting me not to notice because there's over 1,200 videos on my channel. Them just shadow banning and stopping people from commenting, stopping likes from going through, unliking, all that kind of stuff, trying to destroy it in the algorithm from the get-go. I'm sick of it. I'm really sick of it. And yes, there's alternatives. The alternatives are just not there yet. And it's an echo chamber as well. And we need to reach people who don't agree with us more now than ever. And that's what they're trying to stop. That discourse. That conversation. They don't want it to even start. So anyway, I'm going to get going. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. I really, really hope that we learned something from this. And we do not let it just pass by like another little cloud. You know, it's all, oh, it's just something in the air. It's not a big deal. It's going to go away. You can close your eyes, close your ears, close your mouth, but it won't change the reality around you. And the sooner that we do something about it, the sooner we win. The sooner we don't have to put up with this constant war of information. People's lives being destroyed. Millions of people dead in the wars. Millions of people impoverished by the banking system. And it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to do something about it. But the people that talk about it and make people aware of it need to be supported. End of story. People need to be supported when it comes to spreading this information. So anyway, it's depressing. Anyway, if anyone wants to help me out, there's also this Bitcoin address here if anyone's interested. But I also want to make sure to send everyone towards Press for Truth and support Press for Truth in as many ways as possible. Subscribestar, we both have Subscribestar pages. Also, Ford Fisher, and of course, Ford Fisher is on Twitter still for the time being as @Ford Fisher, FORDFISCHER. Make sure to follow him. Do what you can to help this guy. Dan Dix is on Twitter still as @DanDixPFT. So make sure to go and, send your support. Tell Team YouTube what you think about all of this. And we'll be back at you with a lot more on this. Just cross our fingers. But we need to start working and being tougher, because if we don't now, then, our silence will reign over generations and will lead to unthinkable things. Information is the most important weapon. No violence needed, just information. So anyway, see you guys next time. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. And thank you to TellOG. Add Ethereum and XRP, more cryptos, please. Thank you very much. Last second here. I will definitely add some of those. It's just I don't want to add everything to the end of the video because it'll just annoy people. But I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.